You're very welcome to Belvo Boys in Blue, episode 2 with former Ireland man Keith Treacy, who's preparing for a return to football, age 30. Keith has played in the Premier League with Blackburn and Burnley and loads of other clubs as well, and spent time in the League of Ireland with Drogheda and St Pat's, and spent a lot of his schoolboy career at Belvo. Keith, what do you remember back about being a Belvo boy in blue back in the good old days?
I remember Fairview before the Port Tunnel went through it. Remember the old dressing rooms used to be there. I remember the 7-a-side pitches used to be right down beside the river, and then as I came through the ages, I ended up towards Barcourt, the pitches down that way. Yeah, I was there for my whole amateur career. Yeah, it was a great home for me, great family orientated club, and yeah, I loved it.
What type of teammates did you have, as in, people you played with, friends you made, and also the number of legendary managers in the club across the years? I'm sure you played under some of those. Yeah,
well, I was Jerry Mooney and Tommy Kennedy. I used to play for the older groups, but that was my main age group and base. But like I say, what did you say to me
about the managers you played for and the players and teammates? You were born in 1988, so you would have had some great teammates, and also the fact you were there from like the age of 7 maybe to 16, 17, lots of good managers.
Yeah, well, do you remember Daniel Ennis and Pork? Like, these are still friends I speak to today, obviously not on the phones, but yeah, when I see them, I'm going to a wedding in the end of September. They'll all be there, all the old Belvo boys. So yeah, I made some lifelong friends at the club, and I'm obviously thankful for that. Yeah,
I played for Belvo myself, born in 89, so in the round the same age as Keith, and those days in Fairview, and we didn't have Clontarf Astros, we didn't have, we had Fairview, and you had old dressing rooms, and you had grass pitches, and it was great. It just really was great.
Yeah, it was, it put hair in your chest, and it really gave you a bit of discipline growing up as a child, and, it kept me out of trouble, kept me off the streets and kept me nose clean.
What do you remember about the football? Because you're, a footballer, a winger or number 10 who likes to get on the ball and likes to play, and we've always spoken about playing the Belvo way, and your teams would have been no different.
Yeah, well, I think we had two good players in my Belvo team. It was me and Stephen Henderson, and he was a goalkeeper, so yeah, we used to try and get the ball down and play out from the back, and Hendo was great from that. Hendo's I think he just went to Crystal Palace, didn't he? So yeah, Hendo used to set the tone and try and get us playing with Daniel and all at the back, and yeah, it was great. The Belvo way was always to try and get it down, and I think that's what really moulded me into the player I tried to become over the years.
When did you start to realise as a kid at Belvo that you were very good at football and English clubs became interested? You were an Underage international as well, and that's been a very common thing for lots of Belvo players, most recently like to Troy Parrott and Sean Brennan and others, but you were one of those ones again at 12, 13, 14, people started to take an interest in you.
Yeah, well, by the time I was 12 or 13, Celtic had actually put an offer on the table for me, so the junior cert quickly went to the back of my head, but I had good people around me who made me stick at skill for the next couple of years, and the Celtic thing didn't develop, and I ended up going to Blackburn. But yeah, it was about 12, 13 that emails started coming in. That's the way things were done back then. You'd get an email and you'd sort out flight arrangements and stuff, and yeah, 12 or 13, a couple of clubs started coming in, and I thought this could be something I could go and pursue if I wanted.
And I'm sure as well you played in some fantastic games. We have really good teams over the years against the likes of Cherry Orchard, St Kevin's, Home Farm. I'm sure I'm missing others. What do you remember about those games? And I used to love when I used to play and also coaching and just being around it, watching those, say Kevin's against Belvo, Cherry Orchard, the big games. Yeah, well, we I don't know whether my age group was just a bit weird, but we used to have St Joey's, out in Sallynoggin. They were our big game. It was like a north side against a south side thing, and they were some fierce games. A couple of tackles used to fly around, and the dads would be the managers as well of the players. It'd be really fiery stuff, and it'd get you ready to be kicked at a higher level. And like I say, it put hair on my chest and got me all ready for my footballing career. Yeah, what do you think back about those games? The home games in Fairview, and could have been lashing rain, and the pitches are marked, or you're heading over to Joey's to play in Sallynoggin, and all the players piling into a couple of cars, and the stories and the memories you have of being a kid, and looking back now as an adult, you're going, God, they were days when football was really, really good. Like,
yeah, it was just when you're young, you don't feel the rain, you don't feel the cold, the pitch doesn't bother one little bit to you. It doesn't matter if the ref is not great, if somebody's doing something they shouldn't be. You just want to go out there and run and play, and it was really a safe haven for me. I felt safe. I felt protected while I was there, and like I say, it was really close in a family. My age group was, and like I said, it was brilliant for me. It really set me up as a child going into a man.
Yeah, and you moved in and you spent years and years in the UK, and you play for the Ireland senior team, and I'm sure you were able to keep in touch through friends and family in Dublin, even though you're not on social media and stuff about the club and how it's been getting on. And it's a change in time now in Irish football with the League of Ireland starting at 13, but we still have very good teams, and particularly with the academy now, and I know you've got young kids yourself, and you've done a bit of coaching with Johnny McDonald as well. It's still a club that has a fantastic part in the community around the North Inner City.
Yeah, well, I know from my own experience on playing under John at Drogheda how hands-on he is with the kids, and going to see him with Belvedere. I know how hands-on he is, and there really is no better man to oversee a child's evolution as a player if that's the road they want to go down. There really is no better club they could be at.
And we have people like Troy Pirate, who I mentioned, who's doing so well at Tottenham, and so many other players away and trying to make their careers in the UK, or trying to make their careers with the League of Ireland clubs now, having been at Belvedere too. What would you say to them as someone who's been there and you've been able to do all of that? What would you say to them?
Just it's all about hard work. You'll get back what you're prepared to put in, and keep your head down, and try and stay away from life's little temptations.
Yeah, because when you're a kid, football is just a hobby and it's fun, and there's nothing else to your life than being a footballer. But as they get older, 16, 17, 18, they have other distractions, but they still need to really realise that football can be very good to them, as it was to you.
They do, even the ones who, I was always the one who thought, when people would come in and talk to me and say, you maybe want to take up another profession, just in case, it would only spur me on to go and make sure I became a footballer. But at the times of 27, I decided to walk out of the game myself. It wasn't because I wasn't good enough, it was because I mentally couldn't cope with what was happening, and I quickly found out my savings were dwindling, and what other job can I do? I've been a footballer from like I say, the age of 13. Clubs have wanted to take me, so I have the only life experience I have, the only qualifications I have is football, and it's not about you want to be in. So try and keep your options open and try and fulfill your education.
Yeah, and keep making a comeback to professional football very soon. And lastly, you've been down doing a bit of coaching as well. Was it strange, weird, wonderful to walk back in as a 30-year-old and help out? I think one of your cousins, or maybe your own kid, was in the academy, and Johnny Mattress grabbed you and said, "Go on, have a little session there with the kids." Yeah,
it was weird, but trying to tell, because you usually say it in your head and it's so easy and fluid in your head, but to try and vocalise that is actually quite a hard thing. You know what they should be doing, but to tell somebody how they should, because it just happens naturally as a footballer, but to explain how it has to happen, because most of the stuff I would do as a footballer would just happen naturally, but to vocalise that can be quite difficult. But these are all little things I learn as I go through the gears with my badges, and it probably sparked a little bit in me as I was passing the ball to the kids and telling them to get in the half turn. It made me think, I'm enjoying this. Maybe I should get the last couple of years out of myself trying to play, and then I can go on to the coaching.
So back now to your own football, and lastly to try and recreate those Fairview Park memories back in the day, back now in the League of Ireland or wherever it might take you. Yeah,
that's it. I'm back now. I have a hunger. I'm not playing to become rich or become a superstar. I'm playing because I enjoy playing football, and hopefully that'll show and people will see the best of me.
Keith, thanks a million.
No problem.